Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Hey, if you're one of the many Americans thinking about coming here and moving or retiring in Cambodia, and you're going to be applying for your Social Security while you're in Cambodia, this is the video for you. I'm going to tell you the process I had to go through, and keep in mind the process is not complete, and I will explain that at the end of the video. Yeah. But hopefully you'll find some information, look at some of the mistakes I might have made, and it'll give you a hint of what you can expect when it comes your time. Now, the thing about retiring in Cambodia is that you can get the retirement visa extension when you're 55, but of course you have to wait to collect Social Security from the United States. You have to be at least 62. So some people come over here early. They have enough money saved to live for that a few years before they can apply for their Social Security. And that's what this video will entail. Everything I have been through, and the reason I'm making it now before I even receive a payment is because my end of the deal is done. I have done everything they required, they asked for, and I'll explain all of that in this video so you know what to expect and perhaps learn from my misfortunes. And before we get started, if you do want to help support the channel, which is always appreciated, I mean, I can't tell you guys how much. And I'm going to do something special for you as soon as I get my first payment. Trust me, that's coming up. But I really do appreciate it. And if you can and if you want to, we can still use your help. I don't know exactly when I'm going to get my first payment, so things are going to be a little tight, really tight, until that happens. And again, I'll explain all that near the end of the video and that part of the process where I'm at. But I do have links down below for PayPal and Ko-fi.com if you want to send a donation, and it would be very much appreciated as always. And also, you can purchase one or more of my books. You can buy them directly to me in PDF or EPUB format at my website, which is in the description, my Ko-fi shop. And if you want it on your Kindle, you can get the ebook, the paperback, or you can read free with Kindle Unlimited if you have that as well. And we thank you. All right, so let's talk about, first of all, the first application. Now, have you ever done something and after you've done it, somebody gives you a piece of advice that you could have used before you've done it? Like, oh, no, you shouldn't have done it this way. You should have done it this way. That was my mistake. The biggest mistake I made was waiting to fill out my online application for my Social Security 3 days before my birthday. On July 27th is when I filled it out. Because I was under the impression that you had to fill it out on the month that you want your benefits to start, whether that be 62 all the way up to whatever year, 72. And I was wrong, but I didn't find that out until after I had applied. And then somebody said, well, why didn't you apply earlier? You can apply up to 4 months before. And I did not know that. And so I was like, where were you a month ago, when or 2 months ago, with that information? So just keep that in mind, that you can apply for your Social Security up to 4 months before the date that you're eligible, and you can take care of all the paperwork and that'll eliminate a lot of the wait time until you receive your first payment. But let's talk about the application itself online. Now, you need an account, of course, at the website, the government website for Social Security. However, you need to have a third-party account in order to log back on after you fill out your application if you want to check the progress or change any of the information that you might have missed or that you made a mistake on. Let's put it that way. And there's two sites they use. One is id.me and the other one is login.gov. You will have to set up an account with one of those two. And when you go to the Social Security website, you'll click on either one of those links, whichever one you signed up for. And that will be attached to your Social Security account. I know, the government does not make it easy. But you'll need to do that. Now, before you actually start filling out your application, they're going to give you a rundown of some of the documents and information you might need during your application process. Not everything will apply to everybody. But one thing I found in particular was that they said if you are divorced, they will need information about your former spouse or spouses, including their full name, their date of birth, and their Social Security number. Which is weird because I don't know any of that information about my exes. I haven't spoken to them or thought about them in years. And why would I have their Social Security number? I've never been on a date. Or been with a woman for any length of time where that came up. Like we're sitting out at dinner, we run out of things to talk about, and one of us says, hey, so, what's your Social Security number, by the way? We've been dating for 3 months. I need to know this. Or something. That's not date talk. That never comes up. So I'm like, I hope that doesn't come up. I'm just going to have to explain, like, how in the hell would I get this information? And I'm going to tell you some of the things they say you're going to need. You do not need. They did ask if I had been previously married. I said yes, and that was it. They didn't ask for any information about my exes, nothing. So I was relieved at that, but still confused that they put me through that mindset of, oh my God, I hope this doesn't disqualify me right away just because I don't know my ex-wife's Social Security number, But don't worry, the application is actually, once you get in there, pretty straightforward. Pretty much all the information you should know about yourself. And they'll ask, of course, for your Social Security number, and you fill out all the information, your address, and yes, you can use a Cambodian address at the Social Security website. Phone number, they'll want your local Cambodian phone number, or wherever you're from. But for the purposes of this video, we're talking about Cambodia. And for an address, now a lot of places around here, even the more expensive apartments, they either don't have names for the road or they don't have a proper address. And they don't deliver mail here. So even if you did have one, an actual address and road and everything, mail would not come to you. It would still have to go through the post office. So that is the address I put on my application. And yes, I found out that's acceptable. You can use the Siem Reap post office if you're in Siem Reap to receive any mail that they might send you, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I put down the address and the zip code and everything for the post office. Once I fill out the application to the best of my ability, like I said, it's pretty standard. You should know all that information. A couple days later, I received a do not respond to this email saying thank you for applying for Social Security online. Your case is being sent to the Baltimore, Maryland branch. And if we have any further instructions or we need clarification, we will either email you, give you a phone call, or send you a letter through the mail. So I didn't know which one. They didn't specify. I don't know how they determined that. It seems like email would be best, and if not, just give me a little ringy-ding-ding there. But which meant, and this is the worst part about the whole process, now I was in my first period of just waiting. It's like my application's out in the ether. It's doing something, it's doing what they were supposed to do with it, but I have no way of knowing what that is, because when you log back onto Social Security, it just says something like in process or something, and that's no help. They don't give any timelines or anything. So I got to the point where after a couple weeks, I started checking at the post office once a week to see if they mailed me anything. And then as time went by, a long time went by, I started going twice a week, just because I didn't want to miss anything. If I got a letter saying, hey, you need to do something by this date, you know, we're missing a piece of information or something, I wanted to get that done. But I never received anything. And then in October, I received an email. Now, keep in mind, I started this at the end of July, and now it's October. And I received an email from the federal branch in Manila, Federal Benefits Manila, Philippines, who handles all the cases like mine in this part of the world. I think they serve like 7 different countries. And they said, hey, your application has been sent to us because you live in Cambodia. We're going to call you on a certain day in October between 10 and 11 Manila time. That's great. Get this thing rolling, you know. And on that date and times, they never called. I did not receive a phone call. No missed calls on my phone log, nothing. They did not call me. And so I shot them an email referencing their email and said I didn't receive a phone call. Immediately I got a do not respond email from them saying, we received your email, we'll look into it within the next 15 to 20 business days. And basically what they said is don't send multiple emails. If you send more than one, it's going to delay our process even longer. So send the one, wait for us to respond to you, basically. And that's what I did. And then it came November. I still hadn't heard from them. Still no phone calls. And then at the end of November, I received an email saying, hey, okay, we apologize. Our agents weren't available then when we said, but we'll call you on December 2nd between 10 and 11 Manila time. Okay, that's great. But did they do that? No. What they did is they called me on December 1st and said, hey, we were supposed to call you tomorrow because we sent you that email. Remember? I said, yeah, I remember. But our representatives aren't going to be available, so can we do the interview now? I wasn't disappointed much, but I was going to prepare for it depending on what information they wanted, you know. But I said, yeah, let's do it right now. So the purpose of this call, according to them, the purpose of the call was to verify my identity. They've already received a copy of my passport photo, which they requested when you fill out the application. All right, once your application is all done at first, they'll tell you, hey, you send a copy of your valid ID to blah, blah, blah. So they had all that information, but they had to verify it was me, according to them. That was the purpose of the call. Remember that. That's very important. Because it was like a 20-minute call. And they asked me all kinds of questions. They asked me what my Social Security was, when my birth date was, my hometown where I was born. They asked me what the first job I was where I had taxes taken out. They asked me what job I had in 2017, the place I worked. They asked me about my military history, when did I serve, and where I served. And if you're not in the military or never have been, don't worry about that. They won't ask you that, of course. But they did me because I have. And then they asked me, they try to throw a math question in there, right? To trip up people like me who are mathematically challenged. I think that's what it was. Because they said, okay, what year was it when you turned 18? And I'm like, oh my God, man, I was born in 63, so I had to do the dumb math, you know. 63 plus 20 would be 83 minus 2. It would be, 1981. Yeah, I almost had to take off my my shoes and my and my pants to to count all that up. But those are the questions they asked, and it took about 20 minutes. And they asked me for verify my bank account information or where I wanted my deposits to go, my payments to go. So we did all that for about 20 minutes in order to verify my identity. Things that they asked that only I would know, that even if somebody did weirdly hack me or something, get a hold of my social security number, they wouldn't have known some of this stuff because it's not available anywhere. So 20-minute phone call to verify my identity. I think I'm almost out of the woods. And then after that 20-minute call to verify my identity, they said, oh, now you're going to have to also go to Phnom Penh so they can verify your identity in person. So what was the purpose of this 20-minute call and all the personal questions that was meant to verify my identity? Now why do I have to do this? But that afternoon I received an email from the U.S. Embassy in Phnom Penh, and they said, hey, those Manila people from Social Security, they sent us this. They say you have to come in here so we can verify you. We're going to set you up an appointment for December 3rd at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you watch my last video, that's where I made that video while I was in the process of doing that. So we found a way to get to Phnom Penh. 6 hours one way, 6 hours back, and all that time waiting in between. Now when you go there to verify your identity, you're going to have to go through the gauntlet, as I call it. This gauntlet will consist of showing your passport to at 4 different points before you even get to the person you need to talk to actually get done what you need to do. Okay, you get there and you go to a window outside where there's a guard standing there, and he says, have your passport ready. Give it to the guy through the slot in the window where there's a guard sitting. So he takes the passport, he looks at it, he looks down on his little sheet of paper to verify you have an appointment. He puts a check mark, gives you your passport back, pushes the buzzer, unlocks the door so you can actually go in. But then right away there's the main security checkpoint where you have to show that guy your ID again, and he has to mark it down on his paper, gives it back, and then you have to put everything in your pockets, everything in your purse, everything in your backpack or what have you, if you have anything, into a bucket, a little tub. That'll go through a scanner. You will go through a metal detector. Once you're through the metal detector, there are a couple guards there that'll pat down your pockets to make sure you're not trying to smuggle anything in. When your stuff comes out of the scanner, he'll say, is there anything you want to take in there with you? Well, in my email, it said I was supposed to show this particular email to the person I talked to verify that they are the ones that sent it from Manila. So I said, yeah, my phone. And he goes, you can't take your phone in there. It's not allowed. Well, can't show him the email if I don't have my phone, you know? He wouldn't let me take the phone. A little thing of breath mints I had, a little container, wouldn't let me take that. Wouldn't let me take a pen. The only thing you're allowed to take past those doors is if you have any money, which has already been through the scanner. So I had some cash, I picked that up, and then you just go in and you think now's the end, but it's not, because the third person you have to show your ID to is sitting behind a desk at the next station, and again, nothing you have to do there except show your ID to this person, and they, instead of checking off a name on a list, they actually write your name down and the time that it was when you arrived there. So I showed my ID 3 times, still have no answers. But then you're finally into the inner sanctum. Oh my God, guys, the inner sanctum. It's a big, long waiting room, is all it is. It reminds me of the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. Just a big waiting room with very uncomfortable rows of plastic seats. And they told me to go to window number 7, where everybody has to go, because come to find out, your appointment's at 1 o'clock, but everybody's appointment is at 1 o'clock. Everybody's. No matter what they're there for. And so there was already a line of people sitting there. They've already been to window 7. They're just waiting their turn to whatever they had to do. But when you go up to window 7, you have to show that lady behind the glass a picture of your, you know, you got to show her your passport. She'll keep it. She'll give you a numbered tab, like at a deli. You know, we are now serving number blah, blah, blah. She'll write that down on a piece of paper, stick it to your passport. And if you're there for some other reason, you might have other documents. She'll put all that in a pile and set it aside and tell you to have a seat. And she's the only person behind those 7 walls of glass. Now, there is one more person working back there, a guy. You can see him through the glass. He's in his office. Every so often, he'll come out of his office. He'll look through the piles and piles of paperwork and passports that are there from everybody. And whatever system he has in mind, I don't know, he'll pick one, go back in his office, do whatever it is he has to do, and then he'll come out up to a window and call that person's number on their tab. So it doesn't even go in order. Like it'll, you know, now serving 4, my number was 410, and here we are, now serving 409, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm next. But then the next number was like 411, and then the next number went down to 406, because they take, depending on what you need done with your passport or visa, I don't know what system they use, but they take it in a certain order based on what has to be done. And mine was pretty easy. They look at my passport, they look at my face, fill out the paperwork and send it away. So they called me, and sure enough, he had my paper, photocopy of my passport, his little stamp on there, signature, and the verification I needed. Yes, that's guy is who he says he is. He scanned it, he sent it to via email to Manila. And I had one more form I had to fill out because I sell books. And the person I talked to could not get it through their head that it's not a job, it's a hobby that I occasionally get paid for, and not that much. Like last month on Amazon, I made a little bit over 17 bucks in book sales. So it's more or less a hobby that you occasionally get paid. And even she said if it's over, I think $300 or $400 a month, I have to report it. And I'm like, I'm not making that much off book sales. Come on. I can show her all my statements, but she didn't care about that. She just said, well, you're doing this and it's bringing in pennies maybe, but you got to fill out this form. And you can't just fill it out online. They send you a PDF copy. You have to download it to your device and then go have it printed off, because you got to fill it out by hand with black ink. So I had to go to a print shop, print out those 2 pages, went to a cafe, filled them out, and then I had to use an app to scan it, because they say we need a clear scan of these documents sent back to us, completed in PDF form. Which is no problem, because that scanner is really good. It's a free, and I decided to keep it even after I used it. I might never need it again, but that thing works pretty good. The pictures you take, they automatically sharpen everything. You can attach more than one document at a time on the same PDF, so there's not multiple files. And so I filled out those 2 pages, scanned them both using this app, put them together, downloaded it as a PDF, and then attached it to my email back to them saying, here's what you needed here. I went to Phnom Penh for my identification meeting, and they should have sent you, their documentation. And then the next day, of course, I got another do not respond email. Hey, we received your email. We'll get back to you and blah, blah, blah. Because that's automatic when you email. But it was the next day where we are now. They sent me an email saying everything looks great, basically. And now we're going to send it back to Baltimore, Maryland. And after they do a quick quality scan, a quality check to make sure all those T's are crossed and I's are dotted, I guess. They will then send you through the mail. So as soon as this process, they'll send me something through the mail letting me know when I can receive my first payment. And that's where I'm stuck again, in this limbo. Like, everything I've needed to do is done now, right? It's done. Like, I'm done with everything that I need to do. And now it's all up in the hands of who's ever working in that Baltimore, Maryland office. They give no indication of how long that will take, when I can start receiving my first payments. They just say, we don't know, it's all up to how long it takes to process, how many more applications they have in front of them. So now I'll be stuck almost back at the beginning, going to the post office every week, awaiting that letter that I've been looking for so long, saying, hey, here's when your benefits are going to start. Now, the good news about all that is that, no, I don't know when it's coming in, or how soon it's going to be, or how long it's going to be, I should say, because it is the government. They're neither fast nor efficient. But when I do get my first one, it should be a doozy. It should be pretty good. It should be like, depending on how long this takes, it would be at least 4 months back pay, maybe 5 altogether. That'll be a nice chunk of change. And I'm going to do something special with part of that money just for you guys, and I'll let you know that in the next video, because this one's already taken way too long. But stay tuned for that. I'll talk about it in the next video. So that is the process I went through. Like I said, the only mistakes I really made, the ones that matter to me, was that I did not know I could do this 4 months in advance. So I do encourage you, if you're coming over here and you're applying for your Social Security from the United States while you're here, do it 4 months before the date you want that it will begin. Because if I would have done that, all of this busy work and all of this wait time could have been reduced, right? I mean, it would have been the same amount of time, but I wouldn't have been expecting it, because it would have been 4 months away. But I could have got rid of all the busy work, and then by the time it's finally processed, I could have got it probably in August or September already. I would have already started receiving it, but I didn't know that at the time. So don't blame me. I didn't know. Blame the guy that told me after the fact, hey, you should have done that months ago when you started talking about it. I was like, yeah, but you should have told me that when I was talking about it. Yeah. But I still love you. You know who you are. I'm not dissing you or anything. I'm just saying. All right. Anyway, I hope you got some enjoyment out of that. If not enjoyment at my misery, at least some information that will help you. Just keep all that in mind, and you should be fine when it comes your time. Hey, that rhymes. I'm a poet and didn't even realize I can make things rhyme. You know, that last phrase should have something that rhymes with it, but I don't know what it would be. Anyway, be sure to check out my links down below. I have PayPal, I have Ko-fi.com. You can buy my books. Check out other channels vlogging from this part of the world. They're all great, and I recommend them all. And from Siem Reap, Cambodia, I will talk to you guys in the next one.